figure of 9,000, that number was modeled by the World Health Organization in conjunction with the International Atomic Energy Agency, which is an agency put there to promote nuclear power worldwide.
With our point of view, when we collect all data and put it together, it looks like 1 million additional deaths, not 9,000, but about 1 million additional deaths, and many, many million additional illnesses all over the globe.
Alexei Yablokov has published hundreds of scientific papers and is a fellow with the Russian Academy of Sciences. Was an environmental advisor to Presidents Gorbachev and Yeltsin, and is an acclaimed nuclear expert.
And we compare the population in contaminated territory and population on the less contaminated territory. And we immediately find the result, what any difference between this territory we can attribute to the radiation.
He did an actual apples-to-apples comparison using actual data, which the World Health Organization and the other researchers had not looked at. So he translated studies, he went to source data, and that's where he came up with his figure. He and his researchers and published that in the New York Academy of Sciences, a peer-reviewed journal, of nearly 1 million cancer deaths in 20 years from Chernobyl. There has been no rebuttal. There has been no paper that's come out saying he's wrong. There have been several studies that say he was right on the money, but mostly it's been ignored by the nuclear establishment. So I think that his work is the most credible because it looks at actual data.
My opinion, not only my opinion, the general opinion, is because they used the wrong methodology.
They used a theoretical model to look at a dose response to radiation, but without looking at actual data. So they were taking average numbers and saying, well, if a person was outdoors for this amount of time, if they're drinking so much water, that same number applied to everyone.
And they calculate after this how many radiation in average in half liter of milk, average, and so on and so on. So it's such a far from reality.
After the 3 Mile Island accident, we found that the industry was taking the number of curies of radioactivity that were released from the plant and dividing that by the millions of people within a 50-mile radius and coming up with an average dose. Whereas, actually, there were plumes of this stuff, and some people were, of course, more affected than other people. So if you happened to be in the path of the plume, if you drank milk, if you were outdoors working all day, then your dose was going to be a lot higher. Your dose was not the average dose. Your dose was much higher. But yet, that's how they came up with their, again, it's using a model, and it's a way to model, is a way to water down, the health impacts.
I'm proud to be here. I'm happy to be here to explain at the eve of 25th anniversary of Chernobyl what really happened.
Information is always a hard thing to come by when it comes to nuclear accidents. It was true at 3 Mile Island. It was true even after the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. Health data was just not available for 5 years after that bombing. And it's just been a pattern of denial and deception. Even the Prime Minister of Japan is becoming upset and openly criticizing the Japanese utility for failure to put out timely or accurate information. What Dr. Yablokov's work shows is that even though the Chernobyl event happened some 25 years ago this month, it is still happening. It is still an accident that is unfolding and will continue to happen to people worldwide, especially in the Northern Hemisphere. The lesson learned is that we need to be able to conduct our own monitoring, get our own data, do our own analysis, like Dr. Yablokov. He became furious at the numbers that were being put out there. We can forget Chernobyl. It's just this many people. It's really not that big of a consequence. Nonsense. It was a lot of work, but it needed to be done. we need to do this independent monitoring to see for ourselves what's going on.